Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Loser Podcast. I'm your loser, Sergio, and I'm a little sick. I'm actually, let's be real, I'm coming down from a sickness. It's probably my last day. Um, it's just that time of season where people like me who have the shittiest immune systems now just get sick, and you know we're gonna get sick pretty good. So give me my Mucinex, give me my Dayquil, and give me my marijuana. Nah, but seriously, I mean, it wasn't. I felt like shit, but I mean, what are you gonna do? Fucking waste your time at a doctor's office? You just no, you don't. You're not gonna fucking do that. You're just gonna stay home, throw on some fucking Hulu, drink your Dayquil, like I said, and get your liquids in. You know. But I don't know if I got sick because of the season or because of the concert I went to. I went and saw Danny Brown, who was amazing. He was pretty fun to fucking watch. He came down to the music box and it was chill. It was a small little venue. It wasn't too many people. Well, I guess for the venue it was a good amount. But, you know, not like some big old concert where you got like tens of thousands of crowd members just surrounding you. So that was fun, but when I got there, it was already like I think 10, 15 minutes in of the pre-acts, not Danny. So I kind of start off there just in the back, kind of chilling, enjoying it. But then eventually, you know, you kind of move up, or I guess in my situation, I was slowly moving up. But it wasn't my desire to get to the front because I'm like, that's impossible. Look how many motherfuckers are up there who could kill me for even just trying to get up there and stepping on their shoes or something. Oh, sorry. I'm just really going on these tangents, and like my breath is like, you need some air, you fucking emphysemic having motherfucker. But what ended up happening is at the concert, you know, some dude just started moshing, which is pretty much just him going, I'm bored or have enough alcohol on me to start throwing myself into people and hope, you know, pretty much hope that none of them fucking throws a right hook across my face. But since you're at a concert, you have like a what? 35% immunity that they won't because it's a concert. But he actually, it was multiple people, but I remember seeing one specific guy, you know, take the leap before all the other followers and sheep came in. And it was this dude with big old fucking dreadlocks, obviously white surfer, you know, because of a fucking, let's be honest, if a black guy did that, no way. It would not fly. You have to be white in some sort of way or really, really, really good looking. Because there's only two variables in this world that gets you out of fucking any trouble. Being fucking overtly white or being Brad Pitt, or at least a relative Brad Pitt in your situation. Because, I mean, there's a lot of chicks who aren't that fucking good looking who get off anyway. What was my point here? Oh, yeah, I got to the front because this dude started moshing, and eventually I got caught up in the moshing. And I saw the way it was going. And I mean, if you have any form of physics in your head, you're like, if I can ride this wave, which is totally, like, I guess, stupid when you think about it. But I mean, if I could ride this wave, I'm golden. And with like 3 or 4 bowls in me already at that point, I was like, I got this. And fucking sure enough, I jump in there, dude, and I'm fucking getting stepped on. I'm getting pushed. I'm getting my head knocked in. And I honestly can't remember most of it because it all felt like a couple frames. I could have been in there a long time, but I had my eyes closed a bit. I was mashing through. I was pushing against. I was like, motherfuckers, let me through. And sure enough, eventually, dude, I was spit out. And where was I spit out? Only a good 10, 15 feet away from Mr. Brown himself. It was glorious. I mean, it was really awesome because the fact that I was able to get back up there, I'm back up there. The fact that I was able to get up there in the first place really made like the whole experience worth it. But I mean, people kept moshing throughout the rest of the show, which was fun because I joined in a couple times. But the issue is obviously if you joined back in, you threaten yourself riding the wave on the way back, which kind of happened. I got thrown back about 3 or 4 people, but it wasn't that bad because I just got my spot anyway. But I'm guessing, who knows, from all that fucking moshing and fucking balls and dicks in my face, I could have gotten like all kinds of fucking little fucking sicknesses like this. So hence why I sound like this. But the concert was great. Although he called out like 2 people. He called out one woman who was like too old to be there, and like she said, I think her friend brought her. But I guess she was yawning and looking unimportant or whatever. And Danny literally stopped the concert and like started talking shit to this chick. And then he did it again to somebody later who had like this Wu-Tang Clan shirt on, and like I guess the guy had been booing. And I'm like, how are you gonna go to a small ass concert like this, be at the front, look uninterested, and boo? Like you're asking for your shit. Well, that's what it is, right? That's exactly where all that shit comes from. If you're booing or if you're showing disinterest for no apparent reason, it's got to be one of two reasons, if not both. You're self-fulfilling yourself to make yourself feel better, like accepting the fact I really hate this, and because I hate it so much, I gotta make sure that I represent that I'm hating it. Or you're just a hating ass bitch who wants attention, which is why you're a hating ass bitch. And they got the attention they wanted. Unfortunately, they got them pissed enough to where he had to call them out. And funny enough, I was at the gym today and he posted it on his Instagram. That same video of the Wu-Tang Clan. I thought it was hilarious. I was like, oh, I was there. Go check it out on his Instagram, X Danny Brown X. I don't know how I know that. Give me a second. You best be sure I'm about to keep in all that shit because for one, I am lazy, and for two, I am lazy pretty much. Oh my fucking God. I don't know if I want to get into this already because I'm sick and it's already hard for me to talk, but did you guys see well, I guess the Star Wars trailer came out a while ago, right? The episode 9 one. And I didn't care. I mean, I didn't even click on it when I initially saw it because I guess to preface this, I have a huge toxic relationship with Star Wars because like growing up, I wouldn't say I loved it, but Star Wars for me was like I can't even put it under Pokemon because I love Pokemon probably more than Star Wars. Maybe it's more like I guess you know what, it's got its own category. I guess Star Wars in my head has always had a certain category of where I guess I love hate it and it negates itself because some things I've always thought were super dope. Growing up, I thought the prequels were really boring, but I think certain parts of the prequels are really cool, which is pretty much how I see them now. I'm not going to put in episode 1 unless I fast forward to the last 10 minutes of the Darth Maul fight and call it quits. And you best believe I'm not putting Attack of the Clones in. Attack of the Clones is the most boring piece of shit, meandering it is so goddamn boring. And the only redeeming part is when fucking Padme gets her goddamn clothes ripped off and you see fucking Natalie Portman's body, who at the time when she was younger looked great. Not to say Natalie Portman looks bad now, but Natalie Portman aged into like a woman and now she just looks like your friend's hot mom. When I got enough friends hot moms. Fuck that. Natalie Portman when she was 20. Natalie Portman in V for Vendetta. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, and when she's wearing, anyway, too off topic. I got just this weird relationship with Star Wars, and but it's always been more on the positive end instead of the negative end, right? You know what? I guess I am a big fan because I even grew up reading the books, not even out of like, oh, I want to read them, but they were in the libraries and they'd be my choice, you know? So unintendedly, I actually know a lot about the extended universe out of just, I'm going to read this over some fucking biography about how George Washington cut down trees and did not want to go to war ever, which good for him. He was probably a peaceful, lazy piece of shit. But recently, as of current standing, Sergio, I fucking hate Star Wars for the most part. I think Star Wars has so many negatives under its belt at this point that I can't even say it's a franchise that I think even deserves what it is now, because I think people put that, I mean, that's the issue that it's at right now. People have put Star Wars on this ungodly pedestal that it can't do anything wrong, or at least we think. Because for the longest time, we were being spoon-fed Star Wars crap after Star Wars crap after Star Wars crap, because there's these ridiculous fanboys who can't put aside the fact that just because it has its Star Wars name on it doesn't mean it's going to be just fucking amazing. You know what I mean? Sorry, we had a little technical difficulties there, even though you didn't notice. But yeah, Star Wars can get away with just about anything it wants because there will always be these people who will buy every single little product they put out just because it says Star Wars. It's the reason episode fucking 7 made so much money. It's the reason episode 8 made so much money. It's the reason why these fucking side movies, who actually don't even make near as much money, still make a lot of money for being a movie. See, these companies will put out all these numbers saying this movie's a flop or it didn't perform as well. But when you really look at the numbers, they perform so fucking well that you would think, oh, this is good. But for those companies, it's not. Although sometimes in some certain situations they do actually spend way more on production than the return is. But what's that loss to Disney whenever they're gonna make that up in fucking Legos, lightsabers, fucking candy, cereals? Like, think about all the little shit. Like, they make so much fucking merchandising money, it's insane. But back on track to Star Wars, I guess, as a whole. Or I guess to its up recency, why I even brought it up. But episode 9 is coming out this year, which, to be honest with you, I actually forgot about until that trailer did come out. And I'm not excited. Because you know what? Fucking Last Jedi put such a putrid cum shot fucking smell in my mouth after the last time I saw it that I can't do it. I let episode 7 slide for its mediocrity and its laziness because I was like, all right, it's been what, like 20 years? 20 fucking years since they made a Star Wars movie? Give him a break. Give him a fucking break. All right, it's not perfect, but you can watch it. It ain't totally bad. Let's wait till episode 8, though. What'd I say? Episode 8? Wait till episode 8. That's when it gets good. That's when they bring back all the stormtroopers. But no. I mean, I was like, let's wait till episode 8, Let's see what they do. They set up enough questions, they've given us tension. They've set up these new characters who aren't exactly, eye-grabbing or, charismatic, but they'll fix it in the fucking part 2, which is when all great movie trilogies, really do great. Nope! Big old nope with fucking Last Jedi. You went into Last Jedi thinking you were gonna find out who Rey's parents are, who the fuck Snoke is, who Finn is gonna become. You're gonna find out how Leia's rebels are gonna fucking bring down the First Order, and we're gonna find out more about the First Order, not just get an establishing shot of how they look like a bunch of Nazis, and it's like, oh, it's just the new dark side. The dark side's here, bigger, better, but except it's got Han Solo's son at the helm. Jesus Christ. But nope. What happens? You go into Last Jedi and they kill off Snoke. Fuck you if you get mad at these spoilers. You don't need to be spoiled for these goddamn shitty Forsaken trilogies that we consider to be Star Wars films, all right? Because they kill off Snoke. They say that Rey's parents were a bunch of fucking junkies. They make Finn even more of a bitch and put him in some of the worst side B storylines you've ever seen since fucking Star Wars Episode 2. I'm going to reference its own goddamn fucking franchise just because it deserves that. Fucking Last Jedi is prequel level bad. There, I said it. Star Wars is prequel level bad at this point. And I didn't think I was going to be so pissed about that. But I am. I mean, I actually knew I was going to be that pissed about that, but I didn't think, what I meant is I didn't think episode 8 was going to get me to that level. Which it didn't. It's the decisions that Disney decided to take afterwards with the Star Wars franchise that really showed me it had zero to no intention of doing anything good, which is fine, because companies aren't that. Companies aren't empathetic creatures who want to do the best for a piece of art. They don't have that certain sense of an artist. They're just big, soulless, fucking conglomerates who just want to make the most amount of money the easiest way how. And the easiest way how is to put up a big, fucking pretty looking picture up on the film, slap Star Wars, pay off the old people to come back, and make sure that your fanboy asses are going to be in the theater, because whether you know you're going to love the movie or not, they know you're going to be there. So, episode 9. To start off, again, like I said, I wasn't excited for episode 9 because I know they got J.J. Abrams on board, but Han Solo's killed off first episode. Leia died halfway through the second episode. Mark Hamill was killed in the last episode, and he doesn't even care about doing it. Rey hasn't been built up at all as a fun character. She's the most boring, cookie cut fucking protagonist you can throw in a movie, except she has tits and she's a Jedi. Let's be real. Finn is just a black guy who finally got a leading role who unfortunately isn't an interesting leading role. And Poe Dameron, people love him because he's a great X-Wing pilot. That's it. That's fucking it. Sorry for all the goddamn shaking. But people love Poe because he's such a good X-Wing pilot. Fucking who gives a shit? You like a character because they were able to CGI him being a pilot so coolly? That's lame. And the only big Poe situation we get, it is in episode 8 when he's going against a stupid plan. And his, oh my god, I hate episode 8 so much. Anyway, there are no characters in this new trilogy to get me excited. Except Kylo Ren, who had like one good scene in the last movie, but then they completely shit on him because instead of making, oh my god. So I see the trailer when I have a chance, all right? If this were like a fucking, there's like no, I guess there's no good fucking common franchises that I look forward to. I mean, I guess if there was a Legend of Zelda anime trailer, I'd be on that shit, right? But I watched the trailer when I had a chance, and it looked cool. It looked nice. I mean, you get to see Rey jump over a fucking TIE fighter, which is pretty dope. But it doesn't give away too much. A couple months pass, I don't really think about it. I'm still debating in my head whether I want to go see it or not because give a corporation. I'm sorry, sometimes I lose my words and I'll just repeat or make up words, and I'm a little sick, so give me a break. I'm just gonna call this the sick podcast. I feel like there's so many little things that I'm doing that just make me sound even worse. That you're like, why am I listening to this sick fucking talk? Sorry, got some water. But a couple months pass, the episode 9 trailer is already completely forgotten itself from my head. And I think it was this or last week now where the leaks for Star Wars Episode 9 started coming out. And obviously, these days everything gets leaked. And in my opinion, I think leaks are they're one of two things. It's the industry's holes obviously showing because we live in an all digital age, and it's impossible for somebody's friend it's impossible for somebody's friend who works at Disney to not take a picture of a movie. It makes sense. But I'm pretty sure another part of it is companies, releasing little bits of information to build up hype. I don't think that was this situation though, because Disney had been like flagging and taking down every single post and video that had to do with the leaks, which in my opinion screams an insecure company who wants to hide, something that's true probably. So I read them. I fucking read the leaks. And the leaks go pretty much beat for beat of supposedly, again, this is all rumored, supposedly what's going to happen in the movie. And before I read them, I had to think about it because I was like, do I really want to read it? Because if I read it, I know I'm not going to go see the movie. But then a part of me was like, I already don't want to see the movie. What's the point? They fucked up the last two. They've had the most boring sideshows. They fucking SJW'd the shit out of everything, all inclusive this, PC bullshit that. So I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Debating whether or not I want to read something over a shitty movie. Sorry, a probable shitty movie. So I did it. And you know what? It's the same bullshit that they're trying to get away with. That they tried to get away with in the last movies. There's nothing new here. There's nothing changed here. It's all the same BS. I won't go into the leaks just in case you people in here don't want to be spoiled. But this is coming from me. Again, I guess a toxic relationship person with Star Wars, so it all is dependent on how you see it. But from somebody who read the leaks and knows beat for beat how the movie's ending, it is not anything it's cracked up to be. It sounds cringeworthy, and I thought it was going to make me angry, but it didn't. It just showed me that I was right to believe my gut in the first place. Disney is not going to fucking fix Star Wars. Disney is not going to make it better, and they only want to get across an agenda that they think is going to net them money and fans. Sorry for the deep breaths. It's just hard for me to keep them in. I think my lungs still a little congested. And it felt good. I'll be honest with you. It felt good that in my heart I was content that I was discontent with Star Wars. But only more good news came. There's been at least these stories coming out. Again, every news story, I guess, is... I said the word earlier. How did I already forget it? Just put the parentheses around it. Big old parentheses. Take it with a grain of salt, whatever you want to call it. But supposedly Disney are buying up seats in movie theaters to show or to make it seem as if Star Wars is having this big old opening fucking weekday or whatever. Think about that to begin with. A company is buying seats to make it seem like a movie is going to perform well. What kind of 1984 Orwellian bullshit is that? I mean, it's obvious. It's like some old shit in the book. But Disney, the biggest money-making entertainment company, has to buy seats for Star Wars, one of the highest grossing established franchises that we have to current date. Two big fucking conglomerates can't even bring seats to a movie that they want to bring. That's just music to my ears. It's just because these companies thought they could get away with shoving all this LGBT, PC, fucking cookie cutter bullshit in our Star Wars movies, think they could get away with it and make tons of money. But you know what? Almost 10 years. Has it been almost 10 years since they got the license? We'll say 5, 6. 5, 6 years with the license, and they've already fucked it up this much. And on top of that, another news story came out that says Episode 9 is projected to be the lowest opening weekend for any Star Wars movie ever. And if you know anything about opening weekends, that's when you make the most money from any movie released. Because of course you're going to have trickle down of money from the movie as it's released in the theater the whole time. But you make the most / the bulk of your money in that initial opening weekend and opening week. And Episode 9 has none of it. Episode 9 has none of it. Because I bet you anything, like I said, there's a sector of people who hated the last two and don't want to bother to see the new one. A sector of people have read the leaks and don't give a shit. And I think the only people who are going to go see it are these fucking fake, you all know them, these fake fans or new fans that came into Star Wars whenever it became cool again. Which is another issue that I think Star Wars dealt with. Star Wars went through a resurgence when Disney bought them. Obviously because they wanted to make all their money. So they're like, how do we make this shit popular again and get people to have Star Wars on their mind? Because I think the only Star Wars that was relative must have been the Clone Wars. And the Clone Wars had already been off of the air for more than 5 years before Disney bought it. So that was the only big thing that it had to do with anything. So nobody really paid attention. And even when the Clone Wars was out, it wasn't like everybody was watching the Clone Wars. It was only like my generation and, whoever was a big old Star Wars fan at the time. And perceivably, sorry again for all the coughing, and perceivably the only Star Wars fans at that time who were thought to be were just these big old fat guys, But when Disney bought it and they wanted to resurge it, all these new fans came in. And from my personal, viewpoint, every single fan was just everybody my age or a little bit older, pretty much millennials, who never got into Star Wars growing up or got into it kind of. But since it was cool in this current time to like Star Wars, they jumped in. People went and bought t-shirts. People went and saw the old movies. People who actually hadn't even seen the old movies just watched the new ones and claimed to be fucking fans. People cosplayed as Rey. Think about how many Rey and Kylo Ren cosplays you saw. You fucking saw since Episode 7 had come out. The only people who cosplayed, or before that was a big term, dressed up as Star Wars characters before that time were fucking nerds who went to Comic-Con and Halloween pretty much is when is any other time allowed for you to dress up like that? I mean, look, let's just be honest. Star Wars fans before, episode 7 dropped were a certain breed. It was a certain breed of people, the same type of breed who love Call of Duty. I'm not saying the same as in like the same people, but it's the same type of toxicity, right? When any group is made and they're made because of a certain reason, they all develop this certain toxic, I keep saying toxic, but they build up this certain pride. There you go. There's certain pride to their group. You have the Call of Duty players, you have the Tarantinoites, you have, fucking Nazis, all these groups. uh, sorry. All these groups, they build a wall because they like what they like. And that's Star Wars fans. I was Star Wars fans. And then what happens? The whole fucking general public decides to get into it. And the general public is, for lack of a better term, maybe not the cup of tea of these nerds. It ain't gonna go well. But they obviously overtook that audience. But when you infest a long established franchise with fans who didn't grow up with the property or treat the property like it's today's best flavor of ice cream, your core people who will forever be your profiteers, even when Star Wars dies or gets handed off to somebody else, these will be the people who continue to buy your products through thick and thin. You start driving them out when you dilute them with shitty fans. And I'm sorry for, these deep breaths. And I'm sorry for those of you who are, recent fans and feel like I'm offending you, but that's the issue that we have here, right? You have people who have been dedicated and who love this franchise even through its shitty times. I'm not saying these people are any better because these are also the same people who went and saw the prequel trilogy, which is just as bad, and considered them to be masterpieces at the time. Even though now they're seen as these fucking these horrid blockbusters, which they kind of are. And Disney created the perfect storm. They diluted their core audience enough to where they don't have projected ticket sales. Their new audience, who was their biggest money makers, let's just be real, how modern statistics works, at least half of them or more than half have to be gone, right? Because everything is a fad. I don't care if you don't think Star Wars is a fad. Yes, it's popular, and yes, it has its place in history and will live on forever, collectively. But there are spikes in popularity for everything. Dragon Ball Z had a spike. 2 spikes, in fact, when it came out and right now, like most things do. Fucking Nintendo had a big spike in the 80s. Sony's having its big spike now. Everything drops at some point, and that's what happened. This new Star Wars fad drops, so that's a sector of money gone. They're probably making their big money from kids, small core fans, and whoever's still interested, but for the most part, this is where everything dies. And I've never been more happy to fucking see it. I just want to watch this franchise burn and die because you know what? We could have had one last movie. One last fucking great Star Wars movie with every single fucking character in it, with a new story, a new villain. Could have gone a whole new intelligent direction and given us a new Star Wars to enjoy, to not only for ourselves, but with our children. And they dropped the goddamn fucking ball. They wanted to fucking make easy money, make the shittiest, quickest movies, and this is where we are now. This is where we're at. In a world where I'm happy that a Star Wars movie is failing because fucking Princess Leia is dead, Han Solo really doesn't give a shit, and Mark Hamill's like, let me be the Joker. Anyway, I know that was probably a super long-winded rant about shit you probably didn't care about, and I'm sure there was a lot of deep breaths and just bad talking, but I don't care. That's how passionate I am about not being passionate about Star Wars. Not gonna lie, I'm trying to find good news to talk about, so that way we can, have a good podcast a little bit, not one with me yelling or ruining it, with taking deep breaths because I'm sick. But everything's just on fire. Everything's at war. Nothing's really going on well. It's one of those turbulent times, I think, in history where we just have to go through it. We're going to figure out what happens. We're going to see how it all goes because, we can't do anything else. But at least, we can complain about it. We can talk about it. Because if you just ignore it all, that's just a part of the problem too. I think everybody in this world has a decision. And if your decision is to not do anything about it, that's still a decision. And there are effects to everything you do. Same way as if you pay attention to it, same way as if you don't. It's like, you know what? When did we change global warming to fucking climate change? Because for the longest, sorry, I'm gonna move the mic. Because for the longest time, I understood it. I was like, well, I guess, yeah, the climate is changing. And then that was it. I mean, what else are you going to say? Climate change makes sense. But then one day I got into a talk with somebody, and it actually was multiple times where I still called it global warming. And then they were like, no, it's actually climate change. And then it just got me thinking. I'm like, nothing's different. It's the same situation happening outside. It's just getting hotter. And climate change is just a word I bet you made up so that way it can calm people down. Because climate change sounds so much more nicer than global warming. Global warming sounds deadly. I mean, when you say global warming, it's like, yeah, I should probably be worried about the fucking globe getting warm. Climate change is so fucking vague, it can mean anything. And I think that's exactly what it is. It's just a way to calm down the population. And it lets idiots like the people I talk to go, actually, it's not global warming. It's climate change. You should get that right. No, motherfucker. It is global warming. Because you know what? Let that shit scare you. That's exactly what it is. They don't want to hear global warming because it scares them. They like climate change. Same way the government likes it, same way they like it. Because it's all this coincidedness of we're going to be fine when really we're not. So, hashtag bring back the word global warming because you know what? We need to start scaring motherfuckers the same way people needed to be scared back during the fucking dark ages. It makes me wonder. I wonder if like the dark ages, like obviously everything leads up, right? But I wonder if like the dark ages happened at some point. It's like, oi, that old Susie's got a bit of that black plague over there and she's fucking shitting her brains out. And then her mum was helping her out. And then a week later, she was throwing up too. I think, by God, they got a little bit of that scallywag. So that was horrible. Or you know what? If it just got to that point, if it just got to the point where a bunch of people were sick and then they looked around and they're like, huh, we got a bit of a plague on our hands, huh? Maybe we should continue to be disgusting and not make any medical advancements for the next fucking X amount of years until some doctor who loses his son goes, I should make some medicine. Actually, I think it was his daughter, not his son. Anyway, yeah, bring back global warming and stop modern medicine. What are we doing keeping all these fucking people alive? If a baby comes out with no arm, half a brain, and can't see out of his right eye, I don't think that's a call to nature for us to give it a vaccine. I think that's a call to God for us to throw it in a fire and go, we'll see what happens with the next one. Sorry, I know this whole podcast has quite the negative overtone to it, but I'm not that mad actually. It's actually been quite a calming day. It has been. I mean, yesterday was actually pretty fun. I hung out with a friend, and we just got high, dude. Like he was like, let's go do a fat edible, and I'm like, that sounds like fun. Edibles in right times they hit really well. Although me and him are quite the heavy THC intakers, so it takes a lot for certain things to hit us. And because he said the same thing going in, he's like, bro, I hope this shit works. And this lovely man, I swear, if I were a woman, I would have had to blow on him and tickle his balls. But because I'm his best friend, this is just the perks, I guess. But he goes into the dispo and he comes back with a big old fucking black bag and he's like, we got edibles in there and I got $25 left over. Worst comes to worst, we come back. He fucking bought us these like, I think it was like 125 milligram lemonades, which are delicious. And then he got me, I think, a Rice Krispies fucking edible, which was huge. It was like 300 milligrams, and I think he had a brownie. And we didn't even smoke, dude, which is usually what happens. We'll smoke before and then we'll go. We didn't even smoke. We just picked these up and went to his house. We were chilling, hanging out. We've eaten them already, kind of chilling. And I didn't think they were going to hit me, right? Because for the most part, edibles don't give me that fucking hardcore hit. But like 30, maybe 50 minutes later, I had like this thing behind like the front temple of my head. It was chilling. It was fucking meditating. It was just doing its thing. And I was like, I'm not really feeling anything, but it feels good. And at some point around this, we had brought up shrooms. And he's like, bro, I still think I got some left over from the last time, which had been like months before. And, sure enough, he pulls these fuckers out, dude. No mold. They look clean, like he just picked them up. And I was like, fuck it. Let's do it. We threw them on a fucking pizza slice and we ate them, dog. 20 minutes later, my edibles had fully kicked in. I was numbed out. My body was feeling heavy. I mean, I was already in that headspace. Fucking fast forward 30, 40 minutes again, dude. The shrooms are mixed in with the fucking edibles. And I was on his couch for like 5 hours, dude. And I only think I got up once to fucking look for my phone. That for the life of me, I just didn't know where I put it. It was under me in the fucking couch. And that was it. I was so fucking high out of my mind, dude, that I forgot all I did was watch Vikings. He threw on Vikings, and it took me a bit to get into it in the beginning, but by the second episode, I think, second or fucking third, dude, I was like, keep this shit running. This guy, dude, let me tell you about this fucking show Vikings, all right? There's this guy, I think his name is like Ragnar, right? He's like this super alpha male type of guy, good looking, hardcore, mean. He's gonna take you down. And then he just runs this fucking village, right? Because if you don't know anything about Vikings, Vikings never got a proper foothold in the civilization type of way, where like they had big old government buildings or just even had big cities. They were almost city states, probably as big as they got. So you follow this guy named Ragnar, and at least when I jumped in, he was just trying to make, I think, just, not war decrees, but land decrees, travel west, all this shit. And then this bitch, this fine fucking bitch, I forget from where. I don't even know from where. I think they just, if I remember, they stumble upon these chicks who are just hanging out, and then there's this one super fine fucking woman taking a bath. And eventually fucking Ragnar spies tell him, he's like, hey, I saw this hot lady and she was fucking, I don't think they talk like that, but she was like, I saw this hot lady and she was taking a shower. And of course Ragnar, being this fucking alpha male guy that he is, he's like, well, tell her we would like to meet her, and if she wants to be alone, she doesn't have to be alone, and if she wants to be naked, she can be naked, and blah, blah, all this, super elaborate shit. And of course, the hoe comes, and the hoe comes with mo hoes, and Ragnar and the bitch start flirting right in front of his son, dog. In front of his son. I mean, look, I'm pretty sure, this is an accurate Viking lifestyle. Maybe the writers of the TV show went through some traumatic shit growing up. But dude, there's nothing like watching some good old family drama unfold on TV any which way. Because that's all this show was. This show was about the decisions a man makes and how the negative effects take hold after that. And unfortunately for Ragnar, he's not just some guy sticking his dick in a woman and then getting in trouble at home. This bitch is an Errol who wants to get taken over and is questioned all the time. So him fucking some bitch, of course, is gonna have a big old fucking reprification or whatever that fake word I made up in my head is. So his brother gets involved. His brother starts a war. The son snitches. And then oh, snap. Fucking cut to like X amount of months later, bro. 9 months. Ragnar's living his life. All this jazz, dude. And she shows up pregnant with his fucking child. And then side story, his wife is trying to have kids for him because they have like this seer, which is the shaman of the group, or the fortune teller, or whatever, you want to call it. And the fortune teller tells her, or tells Ragnar, you're going to bear a lot of children. And then he tells his wife, going, sorry, I'm losing my track. The seer tells Ragnar, you will birth many sons. And then the wife is like, you will not give him any or many. Which immediately tells me, oh, so he's going to have to find another fucking bitch. And I think she knows that too, which is like why she's like, nah, I'm going to give him his fucking sons. And this woman tries miscarriage after miscarriage. And she's like, I can't do it, but I'm still going to try. And then this guy goes and fucks this fucking 12 out of 10 piece of ass who can cook, who can fucking clean. She's the daughter of a dragon slayer. I mean, she is second wife material. I mean, this Earl was gonna have it made. And she shows up, dude, fucking pregnant, and it's his kid. And oh my god, dude. They have this scene at the dinner table where this motherfucker is sitting between his new pregnant bitch and his old fucking nagging bitch, right? And instead of losing one because you're a guy, you can't lose them both. You got to try to have, best of both worlds. He suggests a polygamous marriage. My nigga, this guy totally went for it. And I could not have been more happy. I mean, Vikings, catch it on fucking the History Channel. Catch that shit on Hulu because it's like Family Matters if it wasn't on Nickelodeon meets Vikings. And you know what? Even if it's not accurate, I'm sure it's got a hint of it. I'm sure some Earl back in the day fucked some fine ass Valkyrie from some other place and his bitch found out and then somebody took over and yada yada yada. God, I can't believe I'm talking about Vikings already. I had this whole fucking secret plan to talk about Vikings this whole time. Shut the fuck up. I'm just too insecure at this point. But that was my weekend. I just got really high yesterday. Watched some Vikings. I spent most of the week just working, hanging out, yelling about Star Wars. I mean, I also kind of just keep up to date with everything. I'm constantly watching how the world's going to shit. You know, how China oppresses their people and how Hong Kong has been... Dude, Jesus Christ, Hong Kong. I remember learning about Hong Kong back in I'm not even going to put a date on it just because I don't know if I'm right, but May or April. May or April, I swear. I heard about these riots and I was like, good for them, man. Fighting their rights and this shit and that. And they're still going to this day. Still going to this fucking day. And what happens when you flip on the news? Fucking all they want to talk about the news is second impeachment, all this bullshit. Come on. They're not going to impeach this guy. They know what they're doing. All they want to do is create... whatever. I'm not going to get into it. It's a shitty Monday, and we're not going to make the Monday even shittier with real world problems. On this podcast, we're going to complain about Star Wars and fucking... What was I just complaining? No, not even complaining. We're talking about Vikings. This is a Vikings podcast now. Send in your Vikings questions to fucking Sergio123 at vikingsmail.com. Is Ragnar going to keep fucking bitches? Is his wife ever going to come back? And is this daughter of a dragon slayer going to give him the son that will slay a dragon? Find out next week on fucking Next Week Podcast. I was your host, fucking sick loser Sergio, and we'll see if this goes up. I love you guys, and I hope you guys have a great week. See you at some point. I love doing this. I love talking. I actually have a genuinely great time. So let's hope to push more of these out. I love y'all. Peace.